So here's what to watch for: vomiting and diarrhea, maybe even muscle tremors, seizure, and coma. Scientists and vets like Dr. Morgan said there are plenty of natural options out there available.
And now, your Storm Center 7 forecast with meteorologist Robert Gauthreaux III.
Robert, looking at temperatures, something that folks might not realize as far as how people measure, how entities measure our actual official temperature. Explain for us.
Well, you know, if you're inside the car, you've got the sun beating directly on you, so it gets very, very hot in the car. If you take the temperature reading in the sun is hot. A lot of that energy doesn't really get absorbed very well, and so you're not measuring the actual temperature. So a lot of times, the actual thermometer, whether it's a physical mercury thermometer or even an electrical one, is housed, usually, at least for official readings from the National Weather Service, housed in some sort of structure. A lot of times you might find one like this one. This is kind of known as the beehive, is what they call it. You notice it has louvered sides. Sometimes you might just have a pine wooden box with louvered sides and some slots in the bottom. There are a few things that go into this design. One, they're usually painted white, and that's to at least reflect some of the sunlight, because you have to mitigate it somehow. It's so hot, it's beating down on its instruments. The sunlight will hopefully reflect a little bit, so it's colored white, and then like I mentioned, the sides, it can breathe a little bit, because if you have too much stagnant air inside, that's going to heat up, and then you need some breathing room. You need that air to breathe through, so that way you take a temperature in the shade. The shade is going to be the true ambient temperature outside. You don't want to be measuring pockets of real hot air or just hot air from the sun. It's not going to give you an accurate temperature. So that means temperatures were in the mid-90s in the shade. That's how hot we were. And as we move into the next several days, we're going to be a lot cooler, a lot more comfortable. Right now we're in the 80s, 84 degrees the temperature in Dayton, 79 in Sydney. Notice 79, we're already in the 70s. That may sound kind of weird, but yeah, we're in the 70s. We're likely getting down into the low 70s tonight across the region, so it'll feel a little bit more comfortable because we're going to have lower humidity. When there's lower amounts of moisture in the air, that allows the temperature to drop a little bit more, so it won't feel as stuffy. And you can see where it is drier, dew point temperatures are in the 60s up in Salina. Now the dew point tells us how much water is in the air. Notice the difference between Salina and, say, Wilmington. It's a little bit more humid down south, including Dayton, but not as bad in Salina. That's because we actually have a stationary front draped across the region. So on the quote-unquote cool side of the front, there's some drier air, and on the other side, there's some more humid air. This will eventually push farther down toward the south, bringing in some cooler air across the region. You may not feel it tomorrow afternoon. We're still going to be in the upper 80s, but you will feel it this weekend with temperatures in the 50s by the morning. Now, that stationary front was a cold front, and it blew up some showers and thunderstorms, especially off toward the east. We really didn't see too much action here. This was the heaviest little cell right here down in Champaign County and Clark counties. It didn't last very long, though. Aside from that, we were pretty dry. Only showers we're still seeing at the moment are in West Virginia. A couple severe thunderstorm warnings, but no rain across the Miami Valley now, and really not that much cloud cover either. So that'll hopefully help temperatures drop a little bit more. So out the door tomorrow, you're looking at temperatures in the low 70s. Wouldn't even be surprised if maybe we saw 69 degrees somewhere out there. That being said, it's still going to be hot. It's still going to be sunny. So you still want the sunscreen and shorts, but it will feel a little bit milder. Now, the temperature trend into the weekend, we're looking at highs in the 70s for Saturday. Seasonable, but still 80 degrees for Sunday or Father's Day, so it should be pretty nice. I'd say great for grilling, or if you want to do a real barbecue, build the pit and put the pig in there for about 12 hours. That's the real way to do it. Futurecast shows some pretty dry conditions as well through the weekend. A chance of a shower is not possible, say, Monday or even into next week, but the forecast remains dry, and even though we're cool this weekend, we are back to the mid-90s by next week.
All right, sir, thank you. All of a sudden, a couple of our food pantries are facing new challenges. The increase in the number of people needing help after severe storms hit this week. Plus,
the nation is taking a moment to honor the Black women of World War II, the 6th AAA Battalion. I'm Kirsten Garris in Washington, D.C., with the legacy of the country's only all-Black female battalion to serve overseas during the war and their latest honor for their service.